People are always getting on Gen Z about, declining the birth rate and not having kids, not getting married, not continuing the family unit. But the thing about it is that the ROI on having kids these days is just not worth it. I'm gonna just keep it all the way of being, bro. And I get it that we supposed to continue the human race and raise better people and we'll build generational wealth. But can't none of that happen because we ain't even on our feet ourselves, brother. We are in a position to where most of Gen Z can't even get out their parents' house. 50% of Gen Z adults is living with their parents right now. You feel me? So it's like, how is it that we can even create the next generation when we ain't even made it yet? And it's crazy because, people will get on you when it's like, oh, I don't want to have kids, or I want to get a vasectomy, you know what I'm saying? I want to get the big snip or something like that, right? And people will be like, oh, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. But, and I get it. I kind of get why, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, is it really that bad of an option? Is it really that bad of an option to say, like, you know what? Hey, I don't want to have kids, bro. I'm cool. Because nowadays, brother, it's hard enough to keep yourself alive. Imagine bringing a child into the world. That's at least another like 100,000 a year that you got to be making in order to take care of this child, bro. Diapers is not cheap. You got to buy food for this kid. You got to provide for the kid, put him in school, all this type of stuff, bro. And it's like, man, how am I supposed to do that when I'm barely even holding myself up, brother? Brother, I'm over here looking at the prices of eggs and meat at the grocery store. I'm not trying to add diapers to the grocery list. Where we gonna live? My parents' house? We gonna have a multi-generational household? What's going on? No, that's not how we supposed to do things, man. And it's crazy because, the older generations they'll wave that stick. Oh, you guys need to be doing this. The Gen Z is declining the birth rate. But let me tell you something right now, bro. And I understand. Look, see, I understand the very harmful effects of a declining birth rate, bro. I know that shit is gonna get bad. Society, like, if you don't know what it is, if you don't know what the effects of a very low birth rate and a lack of replacement level population, right? If you don't know the effects of it, basically society gonna crash and burn. That's the long and short of it, right? The economy's obviously gonna get bad because there's gonna be less people, less productivity. Prices gonna go up because of that. It's gonna be a lot harder to get your hands on things. It's gonna be shortages. And long story short, society is gonna crash and burn, bro. And we kind of already there, right? Because what else happens? Then you got a bunch of old people, not a whole lot of young people, which means there's not a whole lot of culture, not a whole lot of movement in a given nation, right? When all the old people is hoarding the money don't trickle down to nobody, brother. They keeping all the money, they keeping all the real estate, right? Sound familiar? It's happening right now. It's already done happened, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? So my point is, I understand the devastating effects of that, but at the end of the day, how is it that we could turn shit around when we can't even afford to move out of our parents' house? We can't afford to do shit these days, bro. Job market bad. We can't even get hired. Look at AI. AI is taking over. And here's the thing about AI. AI ain't even good enough to do half as good as a human being yet. But the problem is that these companies are so greedy and so ready to save money and cut costs that they are willing to take a chance on AI developing at such a fast pace. So even though it may not be there yet, they're banking on it getting there one day. So they gonna prematurely replace your ass with some AI, brother. That's what they gonna do. Why wouldn't they? Like, looking at it from a corporate greed perspective, if you a CEO and you trying to make money, you try to cut costs, brother, what do you think you gonna do? You gonna make sure that that AI is in every possible position it could be, bro. I told you when I worked at Amazon, they have robotic warehouses and shit, brother. They got robotic warehouses and it's starting to spread. And they keep saying, oh, we not gonna replace y'all with AI. That's bullshit. It's coming. It's coming, bro. It's coming. But, regardless, it's just not the time to be having kids, man. You know what I mean? And it's just like, on top of not being able to afford it, you have to understand that back in the old generations, right, the boomers and all the and Gen X's and whatnot, right, they lived in a different time to where by the time you hit like your 20s, your mid 20s, you had already lived a good amount of life. You had already lived a good amount of life. Now, mind you, there was no social media or nothing like that, but people generally were able to afford to do shit, right? People were generally in their careers, you know what I'm saying? They had done whatever it is, or not what I'm not gonna say whatever it is that they were gonna do in life. I'm not saying that everything was just cooked by that point, like, oh, but they were much more ready to settle down because they felt much more settled, right? And here's the thing about it. It's so funny when they say, oh, we want the future generation to be able to explore and do great things. And it's like, we haven't even had our shot to do great things. Gen Z ain't had their chance to do great things. We ain't had the chance to establish ourselves in a career. We ain't even had the chance to do anything that we want to do. Like, bro, ain't nobody got the chance to travel. Ain't nobody got the chance to go and go chase whatever they want to do. You know what I'm saying? Nobody have a chance to even get their own spot yet. Right? And when I say nobody, obviously it's going to be people that got their own spot that's younger. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just talking about in general, right? Because it's always going to be some motherfucker in the comments talking about, oh, well, Cam, I'm 21 years old. Now I got X, Y, and Z. I make this amount of bread. You tripping? Blah, blah, blah. I'm obviously talking about on average, bro. I don't understand why some people be doing that. It's like, good for you, bro. Congratulations. No hate at all. But look at look at everybody else on average. Niggas is struggling, brother. On average, niggas is struggling right now. It's not a good time to just be. And so it's like, when you look at it that way, when you look at it like, we ain't had a chance to even become our own adults. And yet people are like, oh, well, y'all need to be having more kids. The birth rate is declining, whatever, right? Add in the dating market, brother. Look at how the dating market has just completely just gone sideways. I mean, nobody really wants to have kids no more, just off of dating, right? Because if you really think about it like this, right? Women don't want to have kids because they have a bunch of options. Ever since the rise of social media, women now have so many options. Why would they settle down and have to be pregnant for 9 months? Can't be in the club for 9 months. They get passed up by the next young broad, and now she getting taken to the games. You know, and now she getting flown out to foreign countries and Turks and Caicos and shit like that. They don't want to slow down. They want to keep using these options. They want to keep these options open. They want to be able to live their best life through the rich niggas, right? And then dudes don't want to settle down because, I mean, for a bunch of reasons, but one being the rise of goonerism, right? Bro, gooning has completely taken over. And it's really just a greed and money thing. But with that mindset, with that gooner mindset, of course you don't want to settle down because you want access to multiple women, right? On top of that, there's obviously like I guess a male loneliness epidemic, right? Part of it is that, you know, a lot of dudes, they just don't know how to take care of themselves. They lack like any kind of mental fortitude. A lot of dudes out here depressed. A lot of dudes don't want to take care of themselves. And that really has to do a lot with the fact that, you know, they just have a lot of low self-esteem. To be honest, there's not a whole lot of good male role models out there. Hopefully they have good fathers in their lives. But the thing about it is that there is a pretty big disconnect between a lot of young men and their fathers, just because a lot of our parents are a lot older, right? Gen Z is a very small generation in comparison to other generations, right? A lot of our parents are still boomers, right? And like older Gen Xers and shit like that. Because guess what? Millennials ain't having kids like that neither. You know what I'm saying? So there's a huge generational gap. There's like kind of a misunderstanding, right? Times have changed, bro. You gotta understand that times have changed exponentially, right? So, you know, back in the 90s and shit was a lot different. The 90s was a lot different than the 2000s and the 2010s and the 2020s, brother. I mean, shit, 3 years ago was a lot different. The world is changing at a very rapid pace, which means that fathers and sons are not able to relate on the same level, because a father that is a boomer, he gonna be like, hey, do this and do this and do that. And that sounds good. Now, I know it's probably coming from a place of love, but at the end of the day, this and this and that don't work these days. Especially like, bro, you ever had your dad try to give you dating advice, my nigga? You ever had your dad tell you some shit like, hey, man, you got to buy her this, you got to buy her that? Brother, I ain't gonna lie. If a lot of these boomers was young niggas today and they was trying to date, a lot of these boomers would be free meals. They would be free meals. I'm telling you, bro. This shit is just not the same. It's not the same as it was back then, bro. None of this shit is really the same, man. And, you know, the bottom line is this. As much as the birth rate is declining, as much as they want to blame the young generations for this, it's really not our fault. At the end of the day, we not in the position to be able to help that. We not in a position to be able to stimulate that. The dating market is completely gone left, bro. Both men and women is doing all types of crazy shit, man. Don't nobody want to settle down. Ain't no more family unit. None of that, bro. Ain't no more family units. Ain't no more family units. Bro, that was the whole point of having kids. You have a strong family unit. Here's the thing. We can't even own shit. Let's say that you get on and everything, right? They don't even want you to own nothing, bro. That's why they coming out and they saying, oh yeah, we want you to have 60-year mortgages now, not just a 30-year, a 60-year mortgage. Because just in case you might have a sliver of a chance of owning that home, nah, 60-year mortgage. You ain't owning that damn home ever, brother. Right? You'll own nothing and be happy, right? That's the age old saying. You will own nothing and be happy, and it's very, very true. Why is everything a subscription service? Everything you subscribe to, you never actually own it. Physical media is being phased out. Sony PlayStation just said that they're not even going to be dropping no more physical media. Everything is going to be digital. Why is that important? Why is it important? Because when you don't own something, you don't have any power over it. It can be taken from you at any time. Video games, right? Oh, no more physical, no more CDs, right? Y'all might think this is a small thing, but what you got to understand is when your whole shit is digital, my nigga, if Sony said one day, you know what, bro? Give us $1 million. Give us $200 a month to have access to your games. You not gonna give us $200 a month? Nigga, give me that shit. You can't play that. You can't play that. It's only a matter of time before it take a subscription to even turn your PlayStation on. You know what I'm saying? You gonna own nothing and be happy. How is it supposed to, how are we supposed to further the next generation and shit? Well, we don't even own nothing. We don't own nothing. We don't have no power over nothing. Well, we supposed to have babies in an apartment, man? A 2-bedroom apartment? You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, it's just not, we are not in an environment where we supposed to be continuing shit, dog. I ain't even gonna lie. The shit is cooked. It's cooked. But anyway, man, let me know what y'all think down in the comment section, man. You know what I mean? If you a youngin', bro, let me know, man. What y'all think about this situation? I'm out. Peace.